Hey everybody, it's John King. Thank you for joining me tonight for an update on what is going on with the Dream for All program and how the Dream for All down payment assistance program is expected to roll out and kind of what you can expect. So appreciate everybody joining me. Sorry that a technical difficulty that caused me to start a minute late or two, but I want to share a lot of information tonight, and I'm going to give you a real quick high-level overview, and I'm going to dive into some stuff that's hot off the presses. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is California Dream for All is run by the California Housing Finance Administration and CalHFA, California Housing Financing Agency. CalHFA has a board meeting once a month. That board meeting is this Thursday. So I have the PDF presentation of what they're going to be talking about. I don't have any of the details of what they're going to cover, but I'm going to share with you some of the things they're going to be discussing on Thursday. And you actually have the ability to give feedback to the board before that meeting comes out. So if you want to have any information, I'll show you, we'll kind of navigate this together, and I'll show you what the board's going to be talking about. And we have an opportunity right now to send an email into the state agency and give them our feedback about what we think and what we think about what they're doing and what they're trying to do and how it's going to work. So I'm going to ad lib on a lot of this because I literally found this within the last 15 minutes and just did a quick preview. And so I want to kind of tell you, first of all, what is Dream for All? And then I'm going to dive into the changes that were announced last month. And then I dive into what they're going to be talking about on Thursday. I'm going to be doing a special presentation this Saturday at 9 a.m. And I'm going to cover more in depth after the board meeting on what they talked about. But this is preview. I'm guessing based on what the public documents are that they've released on what they'll be talking about. And I'll go through that with you today. But on Saturday, we're going to go a lot deeper into it. And I'm going to do a special live stream on Saturday. So everybody that's registered for this one, you will automatically re-registered for Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. If you can make it, great. If you're watching on any of my live stream channels, you'll get notifications there as well. So what is Dream for All? It's 20% down payment assistance that you pay back when you sell the home, when you refinance the home, or in 30 years when you finish paying off the primary mortgage, and you pay it back with a share of how much the home price has gone up. And so what you're paying isn't interest, you're paying a percentage of the equity, how much the house has increased in the time that you've owned it. Now, I want to pause for a quick second and say this, I'd like to be as interactive of a conversation as possible. So no matter where you're watching me from, you have some chat function within the stream you're watching, or if you're on the webinar, you have a chat function. Post into chat any questions you have about anything you want to make sure I cover, any questions about what I'm talking about, any comments about how amazing my presentation is, whatever you want to talk about. Even if you just want to say hi, feel free to post into the chat and let me know that you're here. All right. So the Dream for All program came out in March of 2023 this year, and it literally ran out of money in 9 days. And the state realized the second version of the money, we can't let it run as quickly. I've been saying for the last few months, we need to change. The state needs to change how they do this because they were creating a bad set of circumstances with people being forced to find a home really quickly so that they could get access to the money. And so the state has said, you're right, John, you're right. We listened to you. No, they didn't listen to me. But the state did say that we agree this is a challenge and we need to do something different. I got my first comment. Okay, thank you, Liliana. I appreciate that. Okay, so the state said, hey, we've got to do something different. And so what the state said is they're going to do some form of a lottery. Now, I don't know. We'll see when I go through this tonight and also what I go through on Saturday. They're probably going to give us more details on how that lottery is going to work. But they basically said last month, we're going to do a lottery. We're going to give people some time to find a home. I don't know how long it's going to be. Again, we'll get more information forthcoming. And they said, but we also want to allocate the money geographically. We want to make sure that the areas that get the money get a proportioned amount relative to their population. And so Sacramento County got the most money. I think it was like 18% of the money. Even though Sacramento County or Sacramento 3-county area represents like 8% of the population, they got far outsized their share of the money versus Los Angeles County, which represents a much larger percentage of the population, got a small percentage of the money. And so the state legislature said, we got to fix that. We cannot allow for a region to get more of the share of the money than what their population represents. You can argue whether you like that or not, but that's what they've said they want. The final thing that they said that was a really, really big deal is they absolutely want to keep this to first generation homeowners. So therefore, and we'll find out more about the definition, but therefore they're basically saying we need to keep this program to people who have never owned a home before and their parents have not owned a home. Now, maybe there's a look back that's, I think I read something that might be only a 10-year look back. We will see what they're specifically going to require, and we'll get more information over the coming months. We might have more information in the presentation that I just got my hands on. So we're going to go through this presentation right now and give you kind of an idea of what they're going to be talking about on Thursday. I'm also, let's see here. Bear with me as I kind of read through this really quick. So there'll be a public section, public access, yeah, Zoom link. So it'll be 10 a.m. this Thursday is the presentation. These meetings run a couple, 3 hours. So this is not something that is going to be very quick, but it does give the ability to do public comments. So you, and I'll share this right now. So let me share my screen, present, screen, and we're going to go with that screen that we're going to share. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So what this is saying is you can give feedback. So until 5 p.m. the day before the meeting. So you have until Wednesday night at 5 p.m. to give feedback on anything in this presentation that you want to give feedback on. You have to email feedback at calhfa.ca.gov, feedback@calhfa.ca.gov, and be up until 5 o'clock the night before. And you have to include, well, I guess you have the option of including your first and last name, the agenda item you're commenting on, and you just have to know that your comment becomes part of the official meeting record. So if we look at the agenda, they are going to be discussing the action. So it's agenda item number 6. So if you want to give them any feedback, give them any suggestions, you would give them feedback based on agenda item number 6, which is the discussion, recommendation, and possible action to implement phase 2 of the California Dream for All program. By the way, kind of a side note, but if anybody is worried about it or wondering about it, CalHFA has allocations of money to help build accessory dwelling units. And that program was very, very successful last year. And they have more money. So they're going to be doing the same thing, talking about the implementation of phase 2 of the ADU grant program. So that's pretty exciting as well. So a couple things they're going to be covering. But let's dive into specifically what they're going to be talking about. So what I'm seeing right here is essentially their agenda. They're going to be talking about the rollout of the program. They're recapping, so I'll recap for you. Phase 1 was the one in March of this year, $300 million in available fundings. They had 2,500 reservations, and 2,200 of those reservations turned into home buyers. They're looking at about $255 million available based on the money that was left over from the first round plus new money they got this time. That's about 2,000 reservations. Now, the key is they're going to be adding these requirements. And that means they're going to have a registration system. This is basically the lottery system that I've been describing, that they are going to require you to register into that system in order to get picked for the money. They're going to have first generation criteria that you have to be a first generation homeowner. They're going to set aside money based on certain geographies. Again, I'm reading this for the first time, so we're doing this together. And they're going to target funds to lower income tiers. So what it looks like, they said here, is reduced income eligibility. So sounds like they're decreasing the amount of income that you have to earn. You have to be below a certain number in order to qualify. They're limiting how much of your own money you can put towards a down payment. And they're putting a cap on how much money you can get in the shared appreciation loan. So here's what they're looking at. They're saying they want to make the limits 120% of the area median income. They want to allow borrowers to purchase a home in any county in which they are income qualified. Okay. Monitor housing market dynamics and update how much. So this is basically saying they're gonna monitor how much money is used in every region and make changes, and they're gonna maintain flexibility to recalibrate the eligibility if there aren't enough people taking advantage of the program. Here's an example. In San Diego County, you may 120% of the area median income. Let's look that up right now. So Fannie Mae area median income. And if I just look up San Diego County, we have area median income of $116,000. So that means that you can't make more than $140,160 in San Diego County. Now that's what they're proposing to be the new income limit. So if you don't think that income limit's enough, this is something you should send an email to them to follow up. So again, that email, you would comment on item number 6 in the agenda, and you would send it to feedback@calhfa.ca.gov. If you need that information, Angelique, I'll look that up. She was asking me what's the median income in Sacramento. I'll happily look that up. But what I want to show you is what the old limits were. So CalHFA had income limits based on every county, and they would allow us to go, hold on a second, and I'll show you that as an example. In San Diego County, for the first version, you were allowed to earn up to $231,000 and qualify for the loan. So they're talking about changing that income limit from $231,000 down to, come on, computer, catch up. Oh, my computer connection's going slow. Hopefully you guys are still getting me. All right, so let's do this again. What did I say? 140,000, I think is what I said for San Diego. I'll look up Sacramento here in a minute, but you can just Google Fannie Mae AMI lookup. Okay, so San Diego County, as an example, $140,000 is the new proposed limit compared to $231,000 before. Sacramento County, you could make up to $225,000 under the normal Cal HFA limits, which is the limits that they had on the old Dream for All program. Now, these limits were bumped a little bit in July of this year. So they are a little bit higher than what they were on the original Dream for All. Constance, I'll bring up your question in just a second. All right. So Sacramento County. Man, my internet's not happy. Accept cookies. Is that what's going to make you happier? All right. Dodger Joe, I see your question too. I'm going to finish the income limit piece, and then I'm going to, yeah, I will wait. Let's see if you'll be happier now. Okay. Great questions, guys. Keep them coming. I won't be able to look up every county, so I'm just going to use an example here of how much they've dropped. So Sacramento County, again, you can look up Fannie Mae area median income tool. Sacramento County's 120% is $136,000. Previously, we were at $225,000. So a significant difference. Again, I'll do a couple more. So I had a question about Napa. Napa's income limit, if this moves quicker, it's easy. Napa's new income limit is going to be $155,500. Los Angeles, now I think Los Angeles are going to have to change, because Los Angeles, there's just not going to be enough people in Los Angeles that are going to make under 120% of the area median income and be able to find a property in Los Angeles County that they can buy. So if we're looking at Los Angeles County, you can't make more than $126,420. Now, remember the income limit, it's 194 right now. Currently, back in April, it was like 185,000. So you're talking about a drop from 185 to 194 approximately, down to $126,000 in Los Angeles County. So I think this drop in area median income is significant. And I think that if you're willing to give feedback, that's going to be a big deal on how many people are going to be able to qualify. Now, their feedback, their response is going to be, well, sure, we're cutting it back, but if there aren't enough people in the county to fit that limit, we'll raise the limit to allow more people to come in. So they're going to do it based on trial and error. Okay, so let's make sure. I'm going to first of all come off of this for a quick second. So Angelique asked me, what is the median income in Sacramento? I covered that. Constance, can you use this program to assume a loan on a house? No, you cannot. So with a loan assumption, it's a whole nother animal, but essentially you're assuming what their balance is. You have to cover the difference, and no, you cannot use this program to cover that difference. Dodger Joe said, is the first generation buyer a proposition? It is, I think none of the rules are set in stone. So could that change? Yes. If you want to give feedback to the state saying, hey, I think the first generation rule is a horrible idea, you have the right to give that feedback. So that's your call if you want to give that as feedback. But definitely it is something that I think they're going to stick with. And so I'm not feeling good about that one being relaxed. How they interpret that, I think, is up for discussion. Liliana asked about Napa County. I think I pulled up Napa County already. Did I pull up Napa County? I did. I pulled up Napa County before I pulled up that one. Okay. And Leo asked about Los Angeles. So again, can't cover every county, but just giving you a representative example of what's happening in the different counties. Now let's talk about, or keep going through this presentation. So again, guys, this is my first time really looking at this. So I may or may not have all the details accurate, but here's what they've said. So it looks like they're using Los Angeles County as a sample. And they're saying, hey, we're targeting 500 loans in LA County. Now, there's only 2,000 loans they're doing statewide. Now, I do believe I saw the statistics somewhere that said Los Angeles County was about 25% of the state's population. No, yeah, 25%. So that would, if that's correct, and I think it is, then that would make sense that they want to get 500 of the 2,000 home loans, or 25% of them, in Los Angeles County. Now, what they're saying is the price of homes. They're drawing a line right here and saying, hey, the median priced home in Los Angeles County is $750,000, but they have 26,000 homes that are considered affordable and another 12,500 that are considered even more affordable. The question is, what condition is the home in? What neighborhood is that home in? Is that something that somebody making $130,000 is going to want to live in and be able to commute to their job? Just because the house exists in that county doesn't mean it's a house that's going to match the home buyer willing to buy in that county. And so it's definitely a struggle. And the question is, are you even qualifying for a $600,000 or $700,000 home when you only have $120,000 in income? Okay, remember, we just looked at the fact that in Los Angeles County, $126,000 is the proposed income amount that they are proposing. So what they're saying here is, okay, Inland Empire, they want about 220 homes in the Inland Empire, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial counties. Again, they're looking at so I think what they're trying to say here is statistically there is enough inventory is what they're trying to say. We'll see. Obviously, they have a lender network across the state, marketing and outreach. Again, we'll know more about what all this means on Saturday when I go over this after I listen to the presentation on Thursday. Let's see here. So they're going to make a clear message. Program is coming. Get prepared now. Talk to a mortgage professional. Okay, so I'm going to make this super clear. I am that mortgage professional that you should be talking to. I am that mortgage professional that you should have all of your friends talking to, all of your neighbors talking to, all of the people that you love and all the people that you hate, because I understand how this program works and I'm staying in front of it and helping to communicate. And so if you think that this might be something for you, the state is making it clear. Now is the time for you to start. Let's make that bigger. Now is the time for you to start looking into this and talk to a mortgage professional. They're also going to make it clear what the key changes are for round 2. So here they are, lottery process, not first come, first serve. So they are saying that it is for sure a lottery process. They're making it clear first generation is a change. That's something Leo had asked about. And Leo, you asked another question. I'll get to it in just a second. about first generation, and then revised income limits. So they're going to make it clear that they've changed the income limits and lowered those limits. And again, they're going to update where to find accurate information. When they're going to make it clear when to register for a voucher. So I'd be interested to know that, because there'll be a time frame. There'll be a very specific time frame that you do not want to miss, because they're going to open up the portal that you can register, and then they're going to close the portal, and they're going to select from those people in the lottery. Now, if the money isn't used, then they're going to likely go back and open up the portal again, or maybe they'll just select from the people who are already in the portal, or they're just going to leave the money waiting until next time. I don't know what they're going to do, but I do know that you don't want to miss your opportunity to get your name into that portal, and they're going to make it clear what information you will need to register. They're going to be focused on reaching diverse and underserved communities with a focus on Latino and Black households. They're going to focus on underserved geographic locations, lower income households, and first generation home buyers. How they're going to do the outreach, et cetera, et cetera. So here's their timelines. Let's go into the timeline. So right now we're here, research and discovery. They're going to build and develop the plan is upcoming. January, February, and March, they're going to do their pre-launch actions. So community and grassroots outreach, and they're going to implement their marketing tactics. March and April is when they're projecting the registration period. They're going to continue their outreach, and when the registration period ends, they're going to communicate the lottery and wait list process. So there you have it. They're going to have a wait list. So if you're not selected on the lottery, there'll be a wait list process, and they're going to They're going to explain that as well. All right. So all of that, again, I'm scrolling through really quickly here. A lot of what they're going to do. So and then the staff is recommending that they implement the project. All right. So that's really all I've got on the presentation. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back to some of my questions. So Leo says, can we qualify if one of the borrowers is first generation and the other is not? I'm going to be really clear. The rules are not out yet. But from what I understand, yes. From what I understand, only one of the borrowers needs to be a first-time home buyer, first-generation home buyer, and that as long as one person on the loan is a first-generation home buyer, as a matter of fact, I'm going to try here. Let's see if I can see this. Give me 10 seconds to try and find. I have some info that I got last month that may help us a little bit. Let's see here. Yep, I think I am there. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the ones I'm looking for. Loans by region, geography, comparison. Almost done, guys. Prioritize lower income, loan delivery system. First generation rules. Here we go. All right, let's see if this will show up on that screen. And let's show you. Oh, are you going to show up? Come on now. You can do it. Okay. So here's what they said last month for first generation rules. So hopefully you guys can see this. Let me double check. Nope, you cannot yet. All right. Let's do that. Nope. All right. This is live. This is what you get when you're doing it live. So I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to now share my screen, and I'm going to share this presentation right here. All right, now you got it. We are there. So program eligibility is first generation home buyers only. This was from last month's board meeting. And at least one borrower is defined as a first generation home buyer. Here's the criteria they told us last month. The borrower, again, at least one. So that answers your question, Leo. At least one borrower has never owned a home in the United States. The borrower's parents or legal guardian have not owned a home in the United States in the last 10 years, or the borrower grew up in foster care. So I think that's how they're eliminating the whole parent thing, is if you grew up in foster care, then we don't need to worry about if your parents owned a home in the United States in the last 10 years. But one borrower has never owned a home, like never, ever, ever owned a home. And that borrower's parents or legal guardians have not owned a home in the last 10 years. So Leo, I hope that answers your question. This is all subject to change. You can submit a request into Cal HFA to tell them you disagree with that. If you choose to, it's a state agency. They have to listen. They don't have to respond. They don't have to change anything, but you have the right to be heard. So it is entirely your choice if you want to submit that feedback. Liliana says, is that registration portal something you as a lender will do? I don't know. I don't know. The question becomes, are they going to require that I pre-approve you first? I hope so. Problem is, not all lenders really understand lending. And so somebody's going to say, oh, of course she qualifies. Of course he qualifies. And then you don't. And so you're going to get, now I think that's where the backup position, where the, how did they call it? The fallout? I don't know what they called it, but waiting list, the wait list. So I think that's where the wait list comes in. And I think that the fact that they plan on having a wait list is really, really good news. But the question is, are they going to require some form of pre-approval letter or lender certification? Is the lender submitting it into the reservation portal, or am I registration portal or not? I don't know. So we're going to learn more about that as we come to the coming months. All right, Constance, can you use this program with the WISH or Housing Affordability Grant? Man, you know your programs. All right, so the Housing Affordability Grant, yes. 100% yes, 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 yes. The WISH program, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into the rules of that. I feel like the answer is yes, but I want to double check. The WISH program's okay being in a third lien position, but I don't know if the WISH program is going to be okay being in a third position behind a second that grows. That the second is the payoff on that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so I don't know. The Housing Affordability Grant, 100% yes, and the income limits line up. The only difference is the Housing Affordability Grant's 120% of the area median income, and it's based on family size. Versus the Fannie Mae area median income is based on the income amount for a family of 4. So if you look at those rules, the income limits vary a little bit as you look at smaller or larger family sizes, but the Housing Affordability Grant has money again. So if you are a first-time home buyer, you make less than 120% of the area median income in the county that you're buying in based on your family size, and you are a member of an underserved community. There are 3 underserved communities that are defined by this fund. 1 is a person of color. 2 is a person with a disability, either physical or mental. And number 3 is someone who's a member of the LGBTQ+ community. If you're any one of those 3 underserved communities and you are under 120% of the area median income, you get $10,000 as a grant that you never, ever, ever have to pay back. That is an amazing program. It only has 25 grants available for Northern California and 25 grants available for Southern California. And they've run out 3 times already in the last 6 months, but they find more money and they replenish it. So it's an amazing program. Thank you, Constance, for bringing that up. WISH, I'm just not sure. Keep the questions coming, by the way. All right. So Hockey Dork. Hi, Hockey Dork. Is there a stipulation for if you only lived with one parent who rented, but other parent who owned a home? That is a great question. I don't know. I think that's something the state needs to look at, is to say, hey, I wasn't raised by that parent. And so if I wasn't raised by that parent, and I've had a couple people ask me that question, I do not have an answer to it. But why should I be penalized when I had a parent who owned a home that wasn't really somebody that raised me, and they've owned a home in the last 10 years? I think that's a valid argument. Here's what I'll tell you. All of these things are what's called self-certification. We're going to know if you've owned a home in the last 2 years because we'll see it on your tax returns. Beyond that, we don't know if you've owned a home because there's no record to look up in the system. I guess we'd see on your credit report if there was ever a mortgage on your credit report. Now, the question is, what if there was a mortgage on your credit report, but you didn't own that home? You just co-signed for someone, or you never lived there, you just co-signed. Does that exclude you? I don't know. So we've got to look at what they're going to give us in the details of the rules. But the fact of the matter is, you're self-certifying. You are signing a document that says, under penalty of perjury, I attest to the fact that my parents have not owned a home in the United States in the last 10 years. What CalHAFA's board is trying to figure out, and they asked the question last month, what do we do to the people who lied? Are there any teeth to this? Is there any way that we fight or put some fear into the people who are signing that form to say, hey, yeah, I'm a first-time home buyer. Sure, my parents never owned a home. I'm not telling you to lie. What I'm telling you is the state cannot, there's no paper that says you've never owned a home. There's nothing, okay? It's kind of like, show me a piece of paper that proves that you've never gotten married. Think about it. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing to prove you've never gotten married. You've got a divorce paperwork that proves you've gotten divorced. You've got a marriage certificate that proves you were married. There's a birth certificate, like I was born and I have no other documentation after that because, well, I was born and that's it. I don't have a marriage certificate. I don't have a divorce decree. So there's nothing on paper that you can provide that proves to me you've never been married. There's nothing on paper that you can provide that proves to me you've never owned a home. So this is self-attestation. I am not telling you that you should lie about it. As a matter of fact, I don't want anybody to lie about it. There's going to be some ramifications. The state agency is trying to figure out what are those ramifications. Can we take the house back? Can we force them to pay back the money? What can we do? Because they are worried about it, but it is self-attestation. So are there going to be some people who are going to say, look, I didn't know my dad. I have no idea if he ever owned a home or not, and I have no desire to look it up. So I'm signing the form that says I never owned a home. My parents never owned a home because I don't consider him my dad. I'm not telling you should do that. I'm not telling you what you should do. What I'm telling you is the way they are documenting this is through you signing a form to attest to the fact that under penalty of perjury, you do meet the criteria of this program. All right. My last question that I've got, guys, this is about everything I have to cover today. Again, I'll be back at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning to give a deeper dive once I see what the state has to talk about. But if you have more questions, I'll stick around. So feel free to post those questions right now. All right, Dr. Joe, what's another good down payment assistance program if I don't qualify for Dream for Some? First of all, Dr. Joe, if I know who you are, I'm sorry that I don't know you by Dr. Joe. Secondly, I could not have asked for a better question. Third, I love how you changed the name of the program. So it is no longer Dream for All. It is Dream for Some. I love it. Honestly, I'll leave that alone, but I do love what you did there. All right. So there are a few programs right now that a lot of my buyers are jumping into because they don't want to wait for Dream for Some. I'm not going to keep calling it that. I'm going to call it Dream for All. They don't want to wait for Dream for All. And I'll tell you why. There's two reasons that you should consider not waiting. First of all, you have no clue if you're going to, even if you meet the criteria, you have no idea if you're going to win the lottery. So you're going to wait until March or April. I think they're going to start the lottery registration in March and close it in April. Okay, that's my best guess, especially based on what I just read. So you're going to wait until April. You're waiting basically 6 months to cross your fingers and hope that your name gets picked out of the hat. And it's going to depend on what county you're living in. Okay. Now, I don't know if they're going to say, hey, because they're basing it on county, are they basing it on county you're buying in or what county you're currently living in? I'm pretty sure they're going to base it on the county you're currently living in. And I think they might let you buy anywhere. That's kind of the impression I got from last month's presentation. So that's the first reason. You have no idea if you're going to get the money. The second reason, you have no idea where housing prices and interest rates are going to be in April, May, and June of next year. Now, you might say, well, gosh, John, I hope interest rates fall because that will help me. Maybe. But if interest rates fall enough, you're going to see a lot of buyers jumping back into the market. And if you see a lot of buyers jumping back into the market, we could potentially see with just a small drop in rates. By the way, we're pushing 8% right now. So if rates go back down to 6, I think we're going to see a flood of buyers hitting the market, like the flood we saw in 2020 and 2021. So we're going to have a huge number of buyers jumping in there, and they're going to be bidding up the price over the listing price, which means you have to be willing to pay more than what the appraised value is. But the Dream for All program won't let you. It won't let you pay more than what the appraised value is. So you might run the risk of not being able to get an offer accepted on a home because the only homes that are available to you are being bid up by $50,000 or $100,000 from cash buyers or buyers who have been waiting, not cash buyers per se, cash buyers are buying now, but buyers with 20% down that are able to use that 20% down of their own money to pay over the asking price, and they have a leg up over you. And so don't wish for rates to go down. Now, I'm telling you, I want lower interest rates just like you do, but you got to be careful, because if you're wishing for interest rates to go down in order to buy, you're going to have way more competition. And I'm going to be honest, if you're on this call, it means you don't have a lot of money saved up for a down payment. I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm not knocking you over it. I'm just being really clear. If you don't have a lot of money for a down payment right now, you won't be able to compete when buyers are waiving their appraisal contingency and saying, I'll buy that house no matter what. I'm not worried about what it appraises for because I'll pay extra. You can't. You don't have the cash out of pocket, and the state is going to limit how much of your money you can put out of pocket. The first version said you could put up to 30% of your own money out of pocket. What I read on this new version, they're looking at limiting that to 5% of your own money out of pocket. I think that's a good change, because somebody who has 30% of their own money, you don't need the Dream for All program, because let's save it for the people who don't have enough money to come up with their down payment. So Dodger Joe, thank you for the great comments. There are three different down payment assistance programs I'm using a lot right now that work all over the states. One of them is through Cal HFA, and it provides you with your down payment for a conventional or FHA loan, and you don't make any monthly payment on it. But it's only giving you the 3 or 3.5% down that's required. And so you're looking at paying mortgage insurance. You're looking at paying a higher monthly payment. But I firmly believe that you're going to be better off doing that, because you're able to lock in today's price when interest rates go down, and I'm confident they will. I just don't know when. The Fed has made it clear we're going to keep interest rates higher for longer. They're not saying we're going to cause interest rates to go even higher. They're saying we're going to keep them higher for longer. So it's clear they're just about done with increasing their interest rates, and they're ready to flip the script. They're ready to move to being able to sustain where rates are and at some point bring them back down. So if you're buying now, you may have a higher payment. You will have a higher payment, but you don't have as much competition. As a matter of fact, I think the next 60 days are going to be the best time to buy a home in the 2020 to 2025 range, in my opinion. Why am I saying that? Because you're going to have the least amount of competition. Because people sit on the sidelines in November and December. They don't want to buy a home. They don't want to move during Christmas and Thanksgiving. They don't want to bother going through the process and disrupting their family and not having a place to put their Christmas tree. And so you're not going to have as many buyers. And rates have gone up even more. Rates went up from 7.25% 3 weeks ago to 8% right now. So we've seen a big chunk of the market get taken out of buyers who can't afford the monthly payment or won't make that monthly payment. And so this is a really, really good opportunity. If you are saying, hey, I don't qualify for this program, I've got 3 different programs that finance 100% of the purchase price, a couple of them that will finance 102 to 103% of the purchase price to help with closing costs. Okay. Now you're looking at a lot more closing costs than normal. Your average closing costs are 3 to 4% of the purchase price is pretty typical. With the down payment assistance program, you're looking at maybe 4.5% to 5.5%. So it is definitely higher, but it's a trade-off. It's an offset, because you can ask the seller to help you with closing costs. You cannot ask the seller to help you with down payment. You can also use the Housing Affordability Fund to get a grant. If you're one of the 3 underserved communities, you can get a $10,000 grant. So Dodger Joe, please let me know if I can help you to look at those different options. Speaking of which, and let's see if I can do this by myself, because normally Anna's here to help me. Let's see if I do this, and then I do this. Hey, I did it by myself. All right, so here's the next steps. If you are saying, hey, you know what? I'm ready to take a look at things, John. I'm ready to start figuring out if I'm going to qualify. Now, I'm not telling you you're going to qualify for Dream for All, because I don't know all the rules. But I know what they're looking for. You need to be qualified for a Fannie Mae loan. You need to have at least a 680 credit score is expected. That's what it was the first time, and I expect that to continue this time. People under 80% area median income likely will be able to go down to 660. So I'm going to take a look at your credit. I'm going to take a look at your income, and I'm going to help you figure out, are you on track? Because I had a dozen people, maybe about a dozen people, who talked with me March of this year and said, John, Dream for All is coming out. I'm ready to get started. And I said, yeah, but you're not ready. You got to pay down these 3 bills to get your credit score up. And we need your co-signer to go get a full-time job because they're working part-time. And they came back to me 4 weeks later, having done everything that I asked them to do. And the money was already gone. So do not let yourself be in that position. Do not let yourself be in the position where the registration portal says you can't register unless you meet these criteria, and they're finding some way to double check it. Then you've missed the boat if you didn't talk to me now to figure out how to get yourself qualified. So we need to talk soon. I'll do a soft credit report. I won't bother you with the hard credit. There's no impact to your credit score. There's no cost to you to do a soft credit. Take a look at your pay stubs and your W-2s and your bank statements and tell you, yes, you're in good shape. Or like Dodger Joe, I might say, you know what? You're not in good shape because you don't qualify for the program because of whatever, because of the time it's been since your bankruptcy, the time it's been since you had a foreclosure or a late payment on your mortgage. So you have to go with a different program, but I have other programs available as well. All right. Dodger Joe just said, thank you, Dodger Joe. I appreciate that. So guys, right over here, got to kind of point it like this. Just go to johnloneking.com. You can click the apply in the top right corner of the web page, download a mobile app, and start the process. Again, no cost, no obligation. I'm supposed to say all that, right? No cost, no obligation. Buy now. Just kidding. The fact of the matter is, you need to know now. Because if it's not going to work for you, stop waiting. Decide if you can make it work today. If it's going to work for you, then make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. Don't be one of those people that's going to regret in March that they weren't prepared because there's something they needed time to fix. We have time to fix it. Get a hold of me and I'll help you make that happen. This Saturday, 9 a.m., join me. We'll get that posted tomorrow. We'll post it on all the places that you're seeing it right now so you can set a reminder for it. Feel free to shoot me an email. So right down here at the bottom, it says kingteam@johnloneking.com. So kingteam@johnloneking.com. If you have any questions, if you want to make sure you get registered for Saturday morning's webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I really, really appreciate your time tonight. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Please feel free to reach out or post any questions that you have, and I'll follow up on them later. And I hope that you share this information with everybody that you know. So if you know somebody that's in a similar position, send them this link to this webinar. Let them know to watch this information and follow me for regular updates. Thanks, everybody, and have a good night. Bye-bye.